All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power, and I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. Now, the first story that I have for you guys today, Roelly Winklaar posts his first physique update going into the 2020 Mr. Olympia, 15 weeks out right now. And you guys already know it's not Olympia season unless we have a Roelly Winklaar physique update to get everybody talking. Now, of course, this is not the classic Roelly Winklaar magic mirror picture that we typically see every year. I'm sure we're going to see that around the 6-week out mark, not so much the 15-week out mark. But it's always exciting to see Roelly posting physique updates before the Olympia because that's how you know it's Olympia season. It's like Christmas trees before Christmas. And as you guys know, even though Roelly is an international competitor, the Olympia and the IFBB recently announced that they have found a way to make sure that all international competitors will be able to compete at the Olympia. Now, my understanding with how they're doing that is this. So there's like a list of countries that you can travel to the U.S. from with basically no restrictions. And it just so happens that almost none of these guys competing in the Olympia live in those countries, but they can travel to those countries and then travel to the United States from those countries after quarantining themselves or whatever. So my understanding is that the idea is to get these international athletes to the country closest to them that's on the okay, you can travel from here to the United States list, and that's how they're going to get them to the Olympia. That's just my understanding of kind of what is going on with that. Now, I could be wrong, but that is what I've been told. So we will probably see Roelly at the Olympia this year. Now, speaking of the 2020 Mr. Olympia, you can't talk about the Olympia without talking about Classic Physique. Your Classic Physique Mr. Olympia champion, Chris Bumstead, with another physique update. He says, same spot, just a few more pounds at Gymshark at Jacked Factory. Another full posing video from Chris Bumstead, and of course, I've been tagged in it about 1,000 times. And of course, I think Chris is looking pretty good here, but we are 15 weeks away still from the Olympia, so how Chris is looking here is nothing like how he's going to look in 15 weeks. But my early prediction is that we are going to see Chris Bumstead repeat and win his second title at the 2020 Mr. Olympia. Now, I'm going to be doing some full detailed prediction videos here in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. But right now, I'll give you my early prediction for Classic, and that is Chris Bumstead repeating. But let me know in the comment section below whether you guys agree or disagree. Now, also in the news, Mr. Regan Grimes. Regan Grimes with the update for his prep, which I guess officially now is for the Spain show. I think in prior posts he had said it was a toss-up between Chicago and Spain, but it looks like in this recent posing video, he's exactly 5 weeks out from the Spain show, so he is officially locked into that show. And I think based on what we've seen so far from who's going to be in it, James Hollingshead is really the only other big-name pro that is officially confirmed that I know of that is doing the Spain show. So by that logic, James and Regan are the favorites in that lineup because those are the only guys that I know that are competing. I'm sure there's going to be more than just the two of them, but right now I don't know of a whole lot that are doing Spain. So Regan is looking good here as usual, and I would have to speculate that at this Spain show, Regan will likely be top 3 and likely nab his Olympia qualification there in Spain and not need to go on to compete in Chicago, but I guess if he wants to, he still can. Now, next up in the news, Hidetada Yamagishi announces his entry into the 2020 Mr. Olympia. He put up a post that says he is 14 weeks and 4 days out from the Mr. Olympia LLC, and I just signed my contract for my 10th Olympia appearance, and it is now official. So Hide, I just checked to make sure, but I went to the Olympia website, and Hide will be competing in the 212 category at the Olympia. We've seen him in both Men's Open and 212 on the Olympia stage. He's got a very impressive crossover capability like that. And I'm excited to see this because I've always been a big fan of Hide. I remember him back at some of the early Arnold Classics that I went to as a young teenager. Hide was competing in some of those. So I'm excited to see him compete again for the 10th time at the Olympia, which is incredibly impressive. So shout out to Hide. I hope your prep goes well. and I hope you have a successful 10th Olympia appearance. Now, next up in the news, Patrick Moore. It looks like there's a possibility that we're probably not going to see Patrick on the Olympia stage this year. Patrick put up a post, and the key words from this post were really at the end of there. And he goes on to talk about the Cali Pro this weekend, and then he says, before a long off season, he talks about making improvements and keep pushing. But the important part of that caption is that he's taking a long off season after the Cali Pro. So to me, that would imply he's not going to do the Olympia, even if he qualifies. I'm sure that 6th place spot in New York probably stung a little bit. And I don't know how he's going to do in Cali. That lineup right now is really wide open. I think Patrick, just based on the names in there, is the favorite right now in that lineup to win. There's not a whole lot of crazy big names in there. You've got Stanimal, you've got Antoine Vaillant, you've got Patrick. Obviously, Patrick just placed higher than Antoine at the New York Pro, and I don't think he's ever gone up against Stanimal in anything. And a lot of those names I don't even recognize, so Patrick kind of has to be the favorite there. So that would be interesting if he won the Cali show and qualified for the Olympia off that win and then chose to skip it and focus on making improvements for the next year. That would be interesting. But I guess we'll see what happens. Personally, he's already won the Cali Pro. He's the favorite going into it. I think likely, if Nick Walker doesn't jump in or anyone else, any random names jump in there, Patrick will probably win the Cali Pro. And contrary to what I've seen a lot of people say in the comment sections, I don't think Patrick looked that bad at the New York Pro. Now, next up in the news, Hassan Mustafa, your 4th place finisher at the New York Pro. He put up a long post on Instagram explaining his physique. He says that he's gotten a lot of negativity about his stage presence and posing. And he says that when he got to Tampa, he had his first case ever of hemorrhoids. His body didn't know how to respond to it. He said it was extremely painful. The constant posing made it worse. The stress of the show made it worse. His condition worsened day after day upon arriving in Tampa. And he basically says he had a very stressful, very difficult whirlwind of a trip to Tampa, and that is the explanation for his shape, which I actually don't think was that bad. I personally didn't see a whole lot of negative criticism of his physique in any of my videos. If anything, I thought he looked pretty good, and I saw most of the comments saying that they felt that he was robbed at this show. So I haven't seen any real negativity directed at Hassan, but that is the explanation he gives for his physique being a little bit off. Now, next up in the news, I wanted to briefly address this since I've kind of gotten dragged in the middle of this a little bit. The beef between Iain Valliere and Milos Sarcev. So Milos obviously was the coach of Max Charles and was evidently not very happy with Max Charles' placing, feeling he got overlooked. And I agree that Max got overlooked, but I want to be clear before I get into this here that multiple times, I've said this in every video, I don't disagree with Iain winning. I did not have Max beating Iain. My only argument is that Max had better conditioning than Iain. I firmly believe that, but even with that better conditioning, I would not have Max beating Iain. I think Iain's victory was justified, and I've defended it in pretty much every video, and actually got ripped apart in the comments for even implying that I think Iain should have won. But there's been a ton of back and forth between Iain and Milos, and Iain also DM'd me, seemingly pretty mad at me for making the video comparing him and Max. I'm not going to show those DMs in this video because I'm not going to do Iain like that, but it seems like he's very upset, and he's taking this really to heart, all the criticism that he's getting, specifically from Milos. Now, there were hundreds of comments basically back and forth between Iain and Milos. It started out kind of respectful. I'm not going to share all of them, but just to give you guys an idea of the back and forth. One comment that Iain left on Milos's picture: Milos, I am upset. I'm one of those people that wants everyone to like me, and that's a flaw. Yes, you're right. I shouldn't give them the time of day, but you're really someone I've always looked up to and really liked, and it's upsetting to see these attempts to denounce me and my win or any other competitor's placing. I don't need you to go easy on me. There's nothing I've done against you or Max or any other bodybuilder in this show personally. I didn't judge the show. I'm not friends with the judges. If you have something to say to me, say it. Not sure what you think you're holding back on, and Chris is an asshole. I'd say that to his face. And he's talking about Chris Cormier. He was in the comments as well. I just don't understand the purpose of what you're trying to do. I've never once complained or tried to denounce any other bodybuilders when I didn't win a show, and I've done 16 to 18 pro shows in 5 years and lost all but 2. I never once complained, posted pics where I look better than the guys ahead of me, where there was plenty in many cases. It's just silly and immature and looks really bad on you. And then one of Milos's responses, so once again, if you believe me, I didn't have any bad intentions towards you or trying to discredit your victory. It was a simple post that should actually be interesting for the fans to get involved and judge by the pictures they see. And quite honestly, I would need to study them more to really say who I would put 1, 2, 3, 4. For me, there would be no problem any of you guys, you, Justin, Hassan, or Max, winning. Implementation of different criteria would possibly have all you guys good choices to be called winners. You won by 1 point short of a perfect score. So 5 trained professional judges saw you as the best. Don't be bothered by what other people say. I'm just a stubborn Capricorn as always. Always have to respond if someone calls me out. And they continue to have a lot of back and forth. Iain talks about right after that comment that he posted up, Milos posted up a screenshot of one of my videos where I had Max and Iain in the thumbnail. It started out kind of respectful, but then it gets more and more kind of divulging into madness there. Here's another one of Milos's comments towards the end. Understand this whole mess was created by you overreacting and taking it personal when I simply just posted comparison pics for people to see. Many feel the way that I do, that Max was shafted again. It has nothing to do with he is my athlete. And then another one from Milos, man, tell your coach to up your anti-estrogens. Your emotions are raging. You are the winner. Enjoy the victory, and like you suggested, don't give me or others the time of day. I can do this for days. And trust me, I'm going easy on you and staying polite. I'm not sure if Chris Cormier will be the same, considering you called him an asshole. So there was back and forth like this basically all night last night. And it was interesting for sure. But at the end of the day, I just want to say, everybody take a deep breath, take a step back, calm down. Iain won the show. I'm not disputing that. I really don't think Milos is disputing that Iain won. I really don't think anybody is making the case that Max should have beat Iain. I think the main thing is that Max had better conditioning than Iain, and based on conditioning, you could move Max up, I would say, as high as 2 placings. I could have had Max in 3rd. But just relax, man. It's all good. Iain, relax. Milos, relax. Iain, I know you're heated. I've seen the comments too. People are lighting you up in the comment section of my videos, on your Instagram, on videos of the show. I've seen it too. But at the end of the day, you won the show. You're going to the Olympia. No one can take that away from you. Just ignore it. I think at the end of the day, all the hate comments are really just people saying that they wanted to see a better version of Iain. At the end of the day, that's what I think it boils down to. And that really isn't an insult to me. Maybe some of them are hateful, but me personally, I'm rooting for Iain. I would like to see Iain succeed. I don't even understand for real why he's mad at me. The Max Charles video, sure, I compare him and Max. I say Max had better conditioning. I say Iain's conditioning was off. That's not hate, man. That's just how I feel. That's honestly what I believe. Do I think Max should have beaten you? No. But the point of that video is that 5th place had better conditioning than the winner, and based on that logic, I think Max should have been in better comparisons, better callouts, and placed a little bit higher. So I'm not going to apologize for that. I mean, But as always, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Honest opinions on the New York Pro. Not hate, but honest opinions on Iain winning. Honest opinions on the result, honest opinions on Iain versus Milos. Let me know in the comment section below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out.